It all began to unravel when the U.S. president picked up his phone in July, a call to the president of Ukraine. What was said? Enough for a whistleblower to file a complaint that made it to Congress. The allegation was that Trump was holding hundreds of millions of dollars in military aid meant for Ukraine, which was fighting off Russian aggression, until the Ukrainian president promised to investigate Trump's potential political rival, former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter, who had worked in Ukraine. In damage control mode, the White House released notes from the call. It did more damage, because as the notes point out, as the Ukrainian president is promising to buy more U.S. missiles, Trump responds, "I would like you to do us a favor, though." He goes on to ask for investigations into a debunked conspiracy theory about the election, and later brings up the Bidens.
The president must be held accountable. No one is above the law.
That's when Democrats announced an impeachment inquiry would begin. The White House refused to cooperate, but several career diplomats came forward anyway. They testified under oath that it all really happened. Colonel Alexander VINDMAN listened to the call and later reported it to White House lawyers.
It is improper for the President of the United States to demand a foreign government investigate a U.S. citizen and a political opponent.
The former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine testified that she was removed from her position because she wanted to fight corruption. So the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, pushed to get her removed.
When our anti-corruption efforts got in the way of a desire for profit or power, Ukrainians who preferred to play by the old corrupt rules sought to remove me. What continues to amaze me is that they found Americans willing to partner with them, and working together, they apparently succeeded in orchestrating the removal of a U.S. ambassador.
Others described a small group of people chosen by the president as running a kind of shadow back-channel U.S. policy in Ukraine.
In August, it became clear to me that Giuliani's efforts to gin up politically motivated investigations were now infecting U.S. engagement with Ukraine, leveraging President Zelensky's desire for a White House meeting.
To withhold that assistance for no good reason other than help with the political campaign made no sense. It was counterproductive to all of what we had been trying to do. It was illogical. It could not be explained. It was crazy.
Trump meeting was going to happen.
And then came the surprising testimony from Ambassador Gordon Sondland, who changed his testimony from what he first told Congress.
Was there a quid pro quo? As I testified previously, with regard to the requested White House call and the White House meeting, the answer is yes.
Sondland was a donor to the president's inauguration, rewarded with an ambassadorship to the European Union. He was center to the plot, and he said everyone was in on it.
The suggestion that we were engaged in some irregular or rogue diplomacy is absolutely false. The leadership of the State Department, the National Security Council, and the White House were all informed about the Ukraine efforts.
And another State Department official testified he heard Sondland on the phone with the president.
During the lunch, Ambassador Sondland said that he was going to call President Trump to give him an update. Ambassador Sondland placed a call on his mobile phone, and I heard him announce himself several times along the lines of Gordon Sondland holding for the president. I then heard President Trump ask, so he's going to do the investigation. Ambassador Sondland replied that he's going to do it, adding that President Zelensky will do anything you ask him to do.
With that, Democrats say they've made the case for 2 counts of impeachment, one for abuse of power, the second for obstruction of Congress.
My vote is no.
The vote out of the committee split down party lines, with Republicans launching varying defenses.
2 key facts have not changed that are critical to these impeachment proceedings. 1, Ukraine in fact received the aid, and 2, there was no investigation into the Bidens.
I have never in my entire life seen such an unfair, rigged railroad job against the President of the United States.
And through it all, the president remained defiant.
It's a witch hunt, it's a sham, it's a hoax.
A slight majority of Americans polled actually support impeachment and removal, but not by much. And as of now, the vote is expected to be partisan, which would leave Trump in office. That could change if public opinion does during the trial, setting up a high-stakes gamble that will impact the president, the country, and the world. Patty Culhane, Al Jazeera, Washington.